What up, YouTube? So, I have a theory. And I know a lot of people making these Star Wars theories on who Rey is. But I don't want to say it's true, but this is what I believe what it is. I believe Rey is not the reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker, nor is she the granddaughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or is she anybody related to Luke or Leia. I think she's just the second coming of Anakin. Because when you take into perspective, she doesn't clearly have any family origins. And I think a lot of things that people miss from the movie is that Leia and Kylo Ren did train together with the other Padawans that was under Luke. But it doesn't mean that it directly implies that she was anything directly towards Luke. Because then, what about the other kids? What can you say? Oh, one of those kids were Luke's kids either. And if you would take into mind the Jedi Code, they're not allowed to have material things, or they bound to other people because they live like just it just goes against the Jedi Code. What Jedi do you really know that has children? The only person who ever went beyond that was Anakin. There's no, like, unless you can show me down a line where a Jedi has had children, then you can do that. You can, again, that would be my theory. My theory would be off. That would just be wrong. But it just makes more logical sense to say that she is the second coming. She has a connection to the Force that's unlike anything else. And then it's just so odd that people say, oh, because she touched Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. But who lightsaber was it before it was Luke's? Then Luke had to get a new lightsaber because remember, he lost the one that was originally his father's due to their first encounter when he first lost his arm. Now, I don't know how that lightsaber got back into the whole grand scheme of things, because people remember that, but it got back to the whole grand scheme of things. But it makes more sense that since that original lightsaber was in the hands of when Anakin was good, and it would call out to her. Now I understand people always say like, oh, that also come. I just read I just saw a lot of theories saying there's things from a novel about I'll come back for you, sweetheart. It does not have to intentionally apply that it is her parent. She can have a mother. I believe that she has a mother. But I don't believe she has a father. Just how the same role as Anakin. Now, another thing that proves that I feel like she is the second coming Anakin and but not part of their family was, let's talk. Okay, so the Force. Now you remember from Episode 1 when he first met Anakin Skywalker as a child. The Force is one of the things that allows people to perceive things and react to things better than anything that's out of the ordinary. As a point case, when Anakin was doing those little pod races, when he said no human can contend with other species because humans naturally don't have the same reaction time as them. But if somebody who has a powerful connection with the Force, a powerful enough connection with the Force, can do things, far above and beyond, which Anakin was doing that pod races at the age of 5 or 6. Which it goes into, and then he was always good with mechanics. So it's not saying like, oh, that just shows like, okay, that's more reason why Rey is the reincarnation of Anakin, but just shows you where she stands within the Force. It allows their minds and their bodies to be able to do certain things that they shouldn't be able to at an early age, and it have some knowledge and abilities that is unlike anything else. Because when you think about it, even if you sit there and can try to claim, okay, Luke was never, he wasn't really like, yeah, he was a good pilot, but he wasn't as good a pilot as Anakin, and everybody knows that. And down the line, Luke had to be taught how to pilot. Han Solo had to teach him how to fly. I mean, he didn't have to, but he taught him how to fly. Whereas in Anakin was just born gifted with just these insane amount of abilities. Like, even we see him as a young age, when he was saving, as a kid, he saved Padme. Not saved Padme, during the times they was, working with Padme when she, on her homeland. He, was shown to fight off drone fighters, and he did come in at Qui-Gon to save, in the case, Qui-Gon and young Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's illogical to really say, like, okay, is to say that all these theories come into play where they just believe that's what it is, or you want to say from the game that's whatchamacallit daughter. But one thing I thought that was pretty interesting, what I heard a lot though from other theorists, and I looked into myself, was that one of the director, I think the main director, if I'm not wrong, said it's basically broken down, summarizing. It's like repetition, basically. It does follow the Skywalker line, but it's also like it's like repetition. So when you really think about it, it's like, especially all the clues, like, it's just, okay, one way, okay, all the clues of, like, all right, she randomly kind of came out of nowhere, randomly good skills. How was she even know who Darth Vader was? That was one thing that really bothered me. I thought that was something I thought they just implied in there, and I got a little upset about it. But then when you actually think about it, how can somebody who doesn't know somebody else do certain, like, can speak their name or have their knowledge of them? It's not like she saw, like, oh, there's a Darth Vader poster. Darth Vader was written on Kylo Ren's forehead, like, Darth Vader, I praise him, like, kind of shit. I'm like, no, it was mostly out of the... it was mostly out of, because she has strong connection to Force, where she was able to dwell into somebody else's mind and see what was going on. But the only way, even if you see, okay, not even dwell in somebody else's mind, but if you can sense something that's within somebody else, then you can be able to, and then you would be able to see how somebody would, like, let me not say that because that sounds really wrong. But if you was to sense something, like how she sensed in him the evil in him, and she saw how it was, and it makes more sense. Like, because I remember for a movie, you've always wanted to, hurt me, kill me. That's what Kylo Ren said to Rey. But it would make sense. It would make perfectly sense, especially at the age before she forgot about, like, she got to an age where she completely forgot about her past training. It would make sense why she would want to kill Kylo Ren. It's because she, just like Anakin, she was able to perceive the future of Kylo Ren's destiny and why she wanted to kill him. But at the same token, we don't know where Kylo Ren life may take him. He may start off like a Darth Vader kind of thing, but he may just change, and that's where I feel like it's both split up into two things, but not. Like, okay, I feel like in the sense of the second coming, I feel like Kylo Ren took on most of the personalities of Anakin, indefinitely. Because when you think about everything he's done and all his actions, it's always been a kind of rip off, like how Anakin reacted in the episode 1, 2, and 3. And when you pay attention, I'm gonna say as a child, but as he got older, he would see like the way Kylo Ren sees a lot of things. He seems like he questions a lot of stuff. He questions himself about his obligations and his duties, and there's certain things he feels like he falls short on. And that's like, yeah, that sounds like some normal things, but it's not when you think about it. Like, especially the task of what a Jedi is. When you just take the fact of what they do as Jedis, it makes sense that he would have most of the Darth Vader personalities, but he does have that thing where that's where I feel like he's going to do what Darth Vader did in the blink of a time. Like, in that one moment, he's going to change over. And what's going to probably happen to Kylo Ren is she may change over. I'm not Kylo Ren, Rey's going to change over. But at the same token, Rey is still the second coming, and that's either she's going to transition into the dark side, or she may actually. That's how I hear about this. Now, I don't want to say the Great Jedi, because I don't. It's more like an urban legend. But if they introduce something like that, then that'll be cool. It's like but she's just, it's just too many subtle hints that she is not the reincarnation, but just second coming. Now, that might sound like, oh, that just sounds kind of boring. But when you think about it, it's pretty exciting. Because the Chosen One theory would make sense, too. When you're thinking about it, Anakin Skywalker is still the chosen one. People say it might be, maybe Rey, or it might be Luke, but in a sense, it was Anakin. It took Anakin. What Anakin did, if that never happened, would you actually technically think about it? Certain things wouldn't have come to pass. Yes, he did. He did grow up, and he did. He did become evil. He was persuaded towards the dark side, and he did do a lot of stuff to kill. So he killed a bunch of Jedi's, and even in the comics and in the storybooks. But one of a lot of things that put a lot of things into that motion for that was good was that it had to change. Like, one thing I feel like it did was that there had to be a certain moment for when you can get close. He had to for him to, like, certain things working on a funny way, and that's what I feel like from the Force. When you pay attention to like anything that has to do with a story, it's funny things have to work out in a way for other things to get done. So I feel like in a way Darth Vader had to become evil. He actually had to have those Luke and Leia for everything to pan out the way it had to. So and especially if to restore balance, him restoring balance was the death of all the Jedi's, and all that leaves is to kill. Is to he bring force, balance of the Force, but that passed it entirely. Even though it was sick and it may sound like, oh my gosh, why would you think of that? But he had to do what he had to do. He had to kill him, and he had to kill somebody who was more greater and sinister. Yes, there is Snoke that we still have to. So we're thinking about it, but the Emperor had to, for him to be able to get close to the Emperor had to die. And technically speaking, the only one who could get close enough was a Darth Vader. And it would make sense. And then I gotta say, your argument can be, so why didn't Luke do that? If that was the case, why didn't they make Luke kill Palpatine during the time when he was still good? Because you gotta think about just the story. You can't just simply just throw everything out there and say, oh, this is gonna happen just like that, just because it was meant to be. But it has to work out in a certain way. That's like throwing a dog a bone just because it's a dog and I like a bone. No. You're gonna want it to be more. It has to do something elaborate for you to be able to give it that bone. You have to get like the essence of the reward, of the outcome. You have to have a great outcome for it to be. Have a good reward for it to have a good outcome, but they have to do something strenuous, a strenuous task, which was for Luke to go and perceive the light side and the dark side. He saw how the light side was more. They were too lenient. He said a lot of stuff like I feel like he saw it as they're too lenient. There's a lot of stuff they don't understand about. It's just they're too cautious too, and they're too strict. But with the dark side, he saw how there's a lot of other perks of the dark side. It still is a lot of stuff that's wrong about it. And even though it took him years to finally have that one little moment of truth, a moment of redemption for to save his son Luke. It still also shows to Luke the balance, the difference in between, and to be able to balance it. And which, even though Luke is not the one who's going to do it, I believe Rey's going to do it, which is why she is the second coming of Anakin. Because now she's born into a world where it's no high Jedi Council. It's not a bunch of Sith going around. There is Kylo Ren, but he's not even. It's not like where they was Sith masters or Sith underlings. It's not like there was any practices being done or anything like that. It's clean. It's almost like a clean slate. Yeah, you have the First Order, but that's just about it. It's so it's like more of a clean slate, and it's almost close to the breaking point of bringing balance to the Force. Like, if Palpatine was still alive, it would have been a totally different thing. He probably would have been able to close in on Rey. But now that he's eliminated out of the situation, that any old teachings that you can get from the Sith is now gone. So that's why I believe she is nothing more than the second coming. She is here now to finish the duty of what her predecessor, Anakin, did. She's finishing what he started, not Kylo Ren. He's not finishing anything that he started. Unless I'm wrong, that Kylo, like that Rey's thing is different from Kylo's. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I also had to bring into that fact of Kylo Ren has a lot of Anakin traits, but doesn't mean. But at the same token, that's why I feel like she's not anything part of the Skywalker thing. She has no traits of him whatsoever. I feel like, yeah, like I said, yeah, I just said, oh, the mechanics, fighting, Force connection, yeah, but doesn't technically have to go in line that that's his reincarnation of himself. So it would make more plausible sense that she's nothing more than a second coming, which is a whoa. It's like whoa, this can happen, like because it's like it just totally make it just. I just feel like it really makes sense. Just let me know what y'all think in the comments.